Happy birthday to you.
Put me on the spot.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, JC. Happy birthday to you. Yeah,
That's awesome.
Come on,
Appreciate you
somebody.
guys. Thank you.
That's awesome.
Thank
Happy
you.
birthday. 32, huh?
33.
33. We won't see you on your birthday, so I wanted to do something today.
That's
Thanks,
so cute.
Lois. I appreciate you,
We
man.
love you, man. We love you. Yo, what's up? It's your boy Los LOS, and we are here. You are watching the Flavor Podcast. We're introducing educators to you. We're getting up close and personal with them, and we're bringing it to you in your home. They're all from Chicago, so let's go. JC, what's
I'm
up?
ready.
What's going on?
I am loaded with caffeine, so if you guys see me moving around over here, just don't mind me.
What kind of coffee you had?
Black.
Mhm.
Black. I'm caffeine
Mhm.
sensitive, and
Mhm.
Okay.
yeah, I had a little workout today, but it wasn't enough.
Okay.
So
You worked out this morning?
Yeah.
You didn't even call us for a
come on
workout?
now. I didn't know you guys were up.
Oh, I went to sleep at 1 and woke up at 5.
Oh, my bad. I got you next time.
Mm-hmm. What's up, JJ?
What's up? What's up? What's up,
What's going
man?
on?
Happy Sunday, man. JC, you said you were working out this morning.
Yeah, just a little something slight.
What time is this morning?
I got up at 5.
5.
I had my alarm set for 6:30 because I know Los wanted to be early, but I got like my body naturally gets up, so I had to.
Good for you. Good for you.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And on the table, look who's here at the Flavor Table. We
Yes,
have LD
yes,
for the first
yes,
time.
yes.
Yeah, feels
On the
great. Feels
flavor
great to
table,
be on the
LD.
table finally. Feels great.
Awesome. We're glad that you're here. Yo, it's time for the Flavor's hot topic.
Hot topic.
Go to first hot topic. We got Al Pacino. I had to pause there a little bit. Al Pacino did the same thing that Robert De Niro just did.
What's that?
At the age of 83, I gotta say congratulations. Now he's on his 4th child.
It's crazy.
Is this a trend that I'm not I don't know about? What's going on?
A lot of people
What?
taking Cialis. That's what's going on. A lot of people taking
Scarface,
Cialis.
his little friend still.
Can you explain again? What is that?
Cialis is Viagra.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, a lot of people taking that, I guess.
I love how Los says Viagra.
Viagra?
Viagra.
See, I had to hear it from somebody else for me to say correct.
Yeah.
JJ, what do you think about that?
I don't know, man. I mean, you said 83 years old. I don't think they confirmed if the baby's his,
No,
right?
they confirmed.
Is it confirmed?
They took a DNA test. He did not know
No
if
way.
it was his or not, right? So he made her take a DNA test. So the
Really?
baby's his. Actually, the baby is born already.
Wow.
The thing is that, you would be kind of like, is this mine? She didn't tell him she was pregnant till 6 months in.
Yeah. See, if you're her, you can't even be mad at that. If you're a person of high status, you would. I would automatically assume you want a DNA test from. Assuming it's not his wife or
Mhm.
something, like you would want a DNA test to make sure the baby's yours.
Yeah, especially when she's 29 years old and
Right,
he's
29.
83.
There's hope for all of us, baby.
But this wasn't the first. This wasn't the first old person, or elderly, or seasoned person that she's dated. She's dated Mick Jagger as well,
Oh,
and I believe he's in his 80s as well.
Oh man, we should pull up a picture of her. Is
I've
there
seen her.
any?
She looks younger than 29.
Really?
She looks like she's 21 or something.
I mean, some women like older men. Okay. Hey.
Or older money.
Some women like
Oh, older money. So he already has 4 kids. He had 3 baby mamas now. He has 1 kid from the first one. He has twins from the second one, and now from this one he has 1. So he's popping baby. Robert De Niro still got him beat. He's got 7 kids.
I don't know.
Good
So
for him.
I think they're gonna call each other to have baby play dates. They're gonna be walking down,
Not a bad idea at all.
Central Park in New
Yeah.
York, pushing those strollers with those babies.
Daddy daycare. Yeah.
No, you mean grandpa daycare?
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody got to push their shoulders too.
Mhm.
So check it out, when this kid's 18 years old, Robert De Niro, God willing, will be 101 years
That's
old.
wild.
Man.
101. God willing, if he's still
Mhm.
around. But my thing still is just like with Robert De Niro. They're not going to be around for that kid. I know. I was raised without a father,
Mhm.
and I needed that father. Now that I got older, I wanted that father. I remember when I was a kid saying, "Man, I wish I had a pops like my friend had a pops."
Mhm.
You know,
Mhm.
my mom was pops.
Mhm.
You know, which was cool because she did a great job.
Mhm.
But
There's something you just have to learn from men. As a man, there's something you need like that kind of guidance.
I think you need both.
Yeah.
I think you need both.
Yeah, exactly. That's
you
what I'm
know?
saying. You need that balance.
Somebody has to.
Because I grew up without my dad, and there's things that I didn't learn until I was an adult.
Right.
So that was the thing that I missed.
Facts.
You know what I'm
Facts.
saying?
You know who was my? Honestly, this is what I tell people because it's the truth. My father figure in life, because I didn't know God back then, right?
Mhm.
My father figure in life was Punch from Chips. So do you guys remember Chips?
Yep.
I don't remember.
I remember.
So if you're over 40
from
years
a
old, you
Is
know
that a
who
cop
Chips-
show?
Yes, it's
Yeah,
an old-
okay, yeah.
It was based out in California. They were
Mhm.
right. They
I remember
cops
the
on
intro.
bikes.
I never watched it.
So it was Chips. You guys remember Star Trek?
Yeah.
The captain. He
Oh, that
was
was-
my father
that was your
figure.
dad?
That was my father because.
Yeah.
And what did I learn off of them? Nothing good, right? Because what happened with them? They were all like trying to hook up with women, and all their shows trying to hook up with women. So I grew up doing that. I don't think I believe I had the
At
right
least you
figure.
looked for a father figure. My influences were guys that didn't have fathers, you know?
Mhm.
So I was looking at like Tupac, all the rappers, you know what I'm saying? Because that was common
Mhm.
in the rap industry.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, mine was Captain Kirk. Awesome. So let's what else I got here? Yeah, the baby play dates. Oh yeah. So that's my hot topic. I'm done. Who's next?
I got a hot topic for you.
What you got?
All right, man. It was a hot week. I think Tuesday was the first day it started heating up. I tried to go along with like just the windows down. By Wednesday, I had to cut the AC on full blast. And my hot topic for this week is 5-inch seam shorts.
What? I'm gonna say that again. I'm sorry.
5-inch inseam shorts.
Is it about shorts like pants?
5
Shorts?
inches.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
You said 5-inch shorts. I don't know what that means, bro. I'm trying to stay godly here,
they're
bro.
shorter shorts. Think about the 80s basketball, right?
Okay.
Every guy that I speak to either loves it or hates it. Y'all rocking with it or no?
Not 5 inches, man. 7.5 is for me.
7 is comfortable.
I'm
7 is
more
comfortable.
a 7 guy.
Yeah.
For those guys that, what it is we're transitioning back to like in the 70s and 80s where guys used to show off their legs, right?
Mhm.
And everything, right? I mean, everything's about legs right now. I mean, back then it was the upper
Oh,
body.
JC sent us a picture of his leg not so long ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've been working.
He puts in work, right?
Amen.
So a lot of people, they want to showcase their legs, and you can't showcase your legs with 12-inch inseam shorts or something. This ain't the 90s where we used to wear the shorts all the way down
Below our knees.
below our
Yeah,
knees,
yeah.
right? So I guess they want to highlight those features. I mean, they're off. Hey, back then in the 80s when we were growing up, people used to wear biking shorts.
They were short. They were short. When I was growing up, they were short. They were short.
They were skin tight, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, they were. With the long socks, they went up to your knees.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, well, if that's the way you wanted to wear them. So
European Speedos.
Yeah.
Once you
That
go
was
there,
tough.
you ain't coming back though.
yeah, that's kind of
Because when I started bringing it back, I started with the 7. I was like, all
Uh-huh.
right, that's comfortable. And then I grabbed like a 5-inch pair.
You did
and
5?
Yeah.
How was
I
your
got 5 on right now.
How was your first time with a 5?
It, it changes the dynamic. First of all, in the gym.
Does it change
So-
the dynamic?
It does.
Okay.
It does.
Is this right?
It depends on the material too.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
yeah, I'm a Nike guy, man.
Okay.
Like,
I mean, if you have
quality.
nice quads, hey, you got the green card to show
Yeah.
show your quads.
And ever since that, I've been hitting legs twice a week. So
Really?
it's good motivation.
See?
Yeah.
Great
So
motivation.
it gives you,
Great
Nice.
motivation. Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, I won't wear them. I'm above the knee. I'm not below the knee.
We're
but I'm
gonna get
above
you a
the knee.
pair of those.
Yeah.
Don't no.
But listen,
Don't do it.
ain't you working out? Ain't you trying to like hit a goal, your weight goal?
Yeah, I've officially lost as of today. Because I checked
Mhm.
myself from what I showed you guys yesterday.
Uh-huh.
I am officially down 45 pounds.
Hey, that's
Wow.
Congratulations.
That's right.
Congratulations.
I gotta
man.
look good for this because this puts on 10 pounds, bro. This TV thing.
Yeah. Wow.
Ah,
We're gonna get Los into the Puerto Rican parade with 5-inch. He's gonna kill it.
ain't gonna happen, bro. Ain't gonna happen.
Oh my God. That's
So we're gonna move on to JJ. What's up? What's your hot topic, Jay?
Man, hot topic, favorite topic for today is episode 1, I kind of mentioned Jamie Foxx and how he came down with a medical condition. Nobody really knew what that medical condition was. Further, well, a couple days ago, it looks like it was a brain aneurysm of some sort or a blood clot to the brain. And people speculate if it was stroke, if it was this and that. There's still reports coming out, but from what the last thing that I seen is he might be partially paralyzed and blind.
Wow.
Oh, and blind? I didn't.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know about that one, but what I know, he did put a video out that I just seen last night. I was up to 1 o'clock in the morning.
Did.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it does look like something's wrong with him. He's trying to talk, but you can tell on his face.
Yeah.
There's something going on.
So that means whatever happens. See, I was affected by this where I had a friend of mine that she passed away, and it's so subtle. It could happen like tying your shoe and boom, you drop. I just want to thank God that he's still alive, that his kids are still around, that he's able to work through this, because a lot of people don't get that chance. And again, I just want to send prayers out to Jamie and his family, and hopefully he makes a speedy recovery, because that man is too talented. I mean, the guy is great. He's a pianist. I mean, he's out there playing the piano. He's singing. He's a triple threat. That's what we call. So prayers up to him.
Definitely. I need more Wanda. Just like
Wanda, come on, man.
In Living Color, Wanda.
In Living Color. I mean, that's what broke him in.
I know I said it last week, but I'm gonna say it again. I love that character that he plays, because you want to run away from Wanda, but at the same time, you think she's hilarious. He did a great job doing it.
And that character, when he first joined in Living Color, I don't know if you guys, okay, so in Living Color, a lot of comedians. I mean, he's there with like all these great comedians.
He's up there.
Yeah, he's up there. So he had to make a name for himself, or a path, and that was the path, Wanda. And once he came out with Wanda, everybody loved it. Yeah. So
we're gonna move on to the next. I want to stop right here. Bless up Jamie Foxx, man. Lord be with him.
Definitely, for sure.
And may you get better. We'll move on to her first segment ever on the Flava Podcast.
Come on, Lid.
Her first Flava hot topic.
I know. It's also a sad hot topic. For those who don't know him that much, he's an MTV Wild 'N Out comedian, singer, entertainer, and producer. DC Young Fly. It's really sad. He lost his longtime partner, Jackie, the mother of his 3 children.
Wow.
They're saying that she passed away during a mommy makeover.
What's a mommy makeover?
Mommy makeover is, it could be different things. Maybe she wanted a tummy tuck, a breast augmentation.
So like BBLs, is that part of it?
Yeah. I think everybody has a different mommy makeover vision. To me, there was a lot of positive and negative comments when I was reading what was happening. A lot of people were saying she was a beautiful woman. Why did she go under the knife? Did she not see that there's other women that she was influencing, So is it okay to not think you're perfect? So
I think whenever you go, a lot of people don't realize how big of a surgery this is. You're going into an operation room, and they make you sign like a waiver. If any of you guys ever had surgery, they're like, here, sign all this, and something happens, we're not responsible.
The doctor might be drunk right now,
And they get a physical exam. They get routine lab work done. So it's like, okay, I'm good to go, and then you go under the knife, and this happens. It's like, whoa.
And
it's an eye opener.
But are they good with those procedures in places like DR? Because I believe she had them done in DR.
I'm sure there's certain places. Well, that was Miami though, right?
That's Miami.
Was it Miami?
Yeah, it was Miami.
Miami is known for that.
They got
that's
no
like
excuse.
the capital for that type of stuff. You see that like 7-Elevens on every corner over there.
Really?
Oh yeah.
But here's the thing. I'm sure like it happens routinely. I'm sure people pass, but she might have been like one of the first, well-known people that passed.
Right.
Well, didn't Kanye West's mom die like that?
Yep.
Yeah, she
was that
same thing.
I didn't know that.
Same
thing. She died.
That's just.
She's trying to get beautiful.
How many kids does she have?
3 kids.
That's
really sad. I know.
3 kids with him? With
Yes.
the young fly?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And she was beautiful. I mean,
I saw her before
yeah.
pictures. I was like, yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
You know, I know it's
just sad to
subjective
me
and all,
that
but I think she was.
a
she
lot of
was
women are
fine.
going to, getting plastic surgery thinking that that's the way to answer everything. And I feel like once you're in there, you want more and more and more.
Mm.
We were talking about this the other day. Body dysmorphia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why some people are addicted
Mhm.
to the gym. They see a little growth somewhere and it's never enough.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
JC, do you have body dysmorphia?
I'm good. I'm
You're
good. Yeah, I'm good.
Because
with
you're always in the gym.
No,
5 o'clock in the morning.
that's just a routine for me.
You
at
work
this
out.
point.
You work out with
Yeah.
your first group, and then you might work out with us, and then you work
Yeah.
out by yourself, and you're probably at home lifting weights.
You know what? It's a social place for me too.
Yes, yes,
So-
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, if there's any aspect I love about the gym, it's like the social.
Yeah, I like it for the mental
Yeah.
aspect of it. I mean, with society nowadays, everybody's running around. You have so much things going on, work, bills. That's my escape, and
Mhm.
just have that one-on-one with myself and try to figure things out. So
Yeah.
when I go to the gym, I do it more for the mental. Yes, the physical, great. For me, the physical is a bonus, but primarily it's that
That's usually
mental
why
state.
people stay.
It
know,
is.
A lot of times I just be so stressed out when I go to the gym after a whole hour working out. I'm like, why was I even mad?
The
You know,
endorphins
like-
kick in, and
Yeah.
it's just
Right.
That's
so-
good. Well, I've been going lately, as you guys know. I lost
Mhm.
this weight, and I agree with everybody. What everybody says, it relaxes me.
It does.
When I got so much going on, just
Absolutely.
I put everything to
Yeah.
the side, my kids, my wife, my businesses, my finances, and I just just zone in.
that's the crazy part. People start because of the physical
Mhm.
pursuits, and then they stay because of everything else it brings.
It's
Yeah.
like therapy.
That's everything
Going
that's
to the gym
overlooked.
is definitely therapy.
And listening to some good music or some good motivational
Oh,
talking,
man.
Yeah,
Oh.
amen.
it gets me going. It gets me going.
When we first met, that's how we got to know each other better at the gym.
Yeah.
At the gym, yeah.
Yeah.
But somebody wasn't there.
This guy,
This guy right here.
he's
Oh,
barely
hey,
here right now. He's
Hey,
waking up- still waking up.
I made it. Hey, but I was gonna say, I be wondering, like, people's playlists, right, when they work out,
Oh
and
yeah,
I be I be thinking, man, I be listening to R&B slow songs. Like, do other people work out?
I listen to
Like,
love songs.
you want
I'll
that
hit it.
hybrid, like crunk music,
I'll hit a
something
PR,
something
listening to-
up tempo. I'm listening to
You got Jodeci in the
Shy,
background.
Jodeci.
Yeah.
People are looking at me like, what the hell? What's going on?
So I got a new toy on the table, guys. So we're recording right now.
Yeah.
Just for okay.
He's still learning how
I
to
think it
use it
needs
over
I
there.
think it needs some Cialis. Okay. All right, go back, Helen. Go back. Hey, I ain't perfect. I'm a Christian trying to get there.
Amen. Amen.
So, what we got next? What we got going on next, guys? I know what we got going on next. This is our small break because it's commercial time.
That's
Awesome.
This is brought to you by Face Strong Gear. That is also a conversational clothing line. When you purchase from Face Strong, it helps us stay online and bring all these great shows. Like, comment, and share, and go to facestrong413.com to purchase your apparel. Now let's get back to this interview.
Yo, what's up? It's Los LOS, and our next guest is coming on the Flavor stage, on the Flavor podcast. Comes from my own neighborhood, my old neighborhood, Humboldt Park. She has been an activist against violence in Chicago. She joined an anti-gentrification grassroots campaign at an early age. She was the dean of students at Albizu Campus. She is an educator holding a bachelor's of arts in justice studies and Latino and Latin American studies. Jesus Christ. Come on. She holds a master in education. She helped in the release of the political prisoner Oscar Lopez Rivera. Put your hands together right now for that.
Yes.
She is the first woman and the youngest AlderPerson to lead a 26th ward.
Wow.
She can rock a suit like nobody's business. And her hair, I don't know how she does it, is always on fleek. Who am I talking about? I'm talking about AlderPerson, Jesse Fuentes. Put your hands together.
Yes.
For Jesse Fuentes, the AlderPerson of 26th ward. So, can I call you Jesse or can I go
You can call me
AlderPerson?
Jesse.
All right.
Yeah,
All
no
right,
need
cool.
to be formal.
Okay, cool.
You're all good.
You're my sister, that's why. Come on, man. So it's gonna be some icebreakers. You just say which one you like, yes or no, or whatever it is. I might ask you why. I might not ask you why, but it's an icebreaker, right?
All right.
All right, cool. So tacos or burritos?
Tacos,
All right. White rice or yellow rice?
white rice.
White rice.
Con habichuelas, bro.
Okay, so
Keep it saucy.
You want
You
the
know?
beans.
Yeah.
Okay, 'cause that's the way you eat it, right?
I like them
Exactly.
too.
That's the way you eat it.
Or if you keep it for leftovers, you put a huevo fritura on top of it in the morning with some bacon. Good.
Oh,
The
she from Humboldt
versatility
Park.
of white rice is
Yeah,
just
yeah, she from Humboldt Park. That's how we do it. That's how we do it. Tom or Jerry?
Jerry.
Why Jerry?
Jerry got my wife's personality.
Wait, what is that for the people to know?
No, quirky, mischievous,
Okay, okay.
fun.
fun.
Fun, yeah.
The one that keeps the entertainment going.
Yep.
I'm a bit more serious.
Your wife is awesome, by the way.
Oh, thanks.
Awesome,
Yes, she is.
Awesome human being. I've met her twice now, and just her aura is just beautiful, and I'm glad that she's with you guys. You guys are together because she lifts you up. Oh wow!
Yeah.
I mean, she really does. She really does. She loves you, and I love that about her.
Yeah, and we can talk about all the ways she did that during the campaign trail.
When you were busy, when you're going through your stress, when you're going through your frustrations, she's there to back you up.
Absolutely.
She's there to tell you keep on going.
That's right.
Amen. So Nikes or Adidas?
Nikes.
All right.
I'm a runner, so
Okay.
it's just the comfort, right? And so Nikes can always get me through a run.
Okay, you heard that, Nike? She needs something. She needs something. I should do a commercial, right? Hey, come on now. She's an influencer in Chicago too. Come on now. Let's do this. Jay-Z or Nas?
Nas.
Yes.
Yeah, come
Yes.
on.
That's the same
That's
thing,
a
Nas.
question?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so why Nas?
Yo, Nas is a poet, but
Yeah.
more importantly, like his lyrics always resonate just a bit deeper with me when he's talking about poverty, when he's talking about dreaming, when he's talking about making it out, but also doing for your community. It's my life story. Also, one of his songs is my walkathon song, so we good.
Okay. Amen to
Do you
that.
know how old Nas was when he dropped Illmatic?
No, how old
He was
is
like 17, 18.
Yeah, that's what I
I'm
heard
talking
too.
about.
Imagine being that intellectual at that age. That is crazy.
Yeah.
Well, he had his upbringing with his I believe his father.
Mm.
His father taught him a lot of
Yeah.
instruments and
Mhm.
whatnot, taught him about the music and whatnot.
Yeah.
So good stuff. And living in Queens, you know what I'm saying? You gotta know how to talk.
Yeah.
You gotta know how to talk when you're in Queens. Biggie or Tupac?
Tupac.
Why Tupac?
For the same reasons, right?
Okay.
Like, so I'm a poet. I think that I spent a lot of my life writing, performing, and slamming. And both Nas and Tupac, they're not just hip hop artists. They're the world's best writers, right? When you think about who helped produce their albums, in many of those moments, they were the sole artist of, some of the best songs we've ever heard in our lifetime. But it's also like the tributes that Tupac pays to women, to his mother, understanding masculinity in a very different way. I mean, he was just way beyond his time, right?
Yeah.
Think about a hip hop artist in the 90s trying to confront
Facts.
patriarchy and masculinity. No
Facts.
black artist was doing that, but Tupac was.
Yeah.
Facts. Salsa or merengue?
Salsa.
There you go.
Merengue's too easy. You know what I mean? Like, you just gotta move.
That's right. It's true.
Yeah.
Salsa,
As long as you got
do-
any rhythm, you right.
You're right, you're
straight,
good.
yeah.
You just gotta move your feet. You're
Yeah.
all right.
Right, because salsa you gotta do all those turns and dips and all that stuff.
Yeah, but you also gotta be on count.
Yeah.
Okay. See, I'm a merengue. I'm like, I'm stuck there.
That's the two-step, basically. You it's safe.
Pretty much, right? Wu-Tang Clan or Tribe Called Quest?
Oh, that's a question. I'll say Wu-Tang.
Wu-Tang Clan?
Yeah.
Word up. That's me too.
You just want Los with that answer. I already know. That's
Come
his thing
on.
right there.
Wu-Tang's
Woo.
forever, huh?
The Wu. Okay, only because I read this and I am a big fan of this genre. Jazz or Latin jazz?
I'll say jazz.
Amen. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I see you.
What's the difference?
Oh,
Well, Latin jazz, is able to introduce different instruments into the genre. But also when you think about the history of jazz and the way it had freed Black people to express themselves and perform on major stages, just the way, the blues has. When you think about blues and we think about jazz, we think about the origination of such a classical way of expressing ourselves through Afro identity. Latin jazz introduces a lot of Caribbean tonations, right, and instruments to a genre that had already exists. And I usually like to pay tribute and give respect to the original form of music.
I like that.
okay. I feel that. I mean, I'm more Latin jazz, but I feel that. I gotta hear the bongos. I gotta hear the congas.
Yeah. I
Okay.
mean, So I listen to Bomba y Plena, you know?
Yeah. That's right. Do you dance it?
No, I don't.
You're like, nah, I'm not gonna do that. Do you play any instruments?
I could hit a conga.
Okay, you can hit. All right, cool. What is your favorite food to eat?
So I don't have like a favorite forever food.
Okay.
So I'm the type like, I go through seasons.
Yeah.
And so I'll be, I have a season of wings where it's like all I want is wings, right? So I try every restaurant, figure out where the best wings are. And then I go through my face of burgers. Who got the best burger in the city of Chicago? Right now I'm in my phase of pizza.
Okay.
And so
you got the right city to be.
See, now I want to know what kind of pizza. Well, from where?
Yo, so there's this spot on Logan Boulevard right across the street from the Eagle that has oven baked pizza.
Okay.
And then they got a basil sauce.
Oh, she's
pepperoni.
She's marinating right there. She's marinating.
Yeah, but it's the best. You gotta check it out.
What's the name of it?
Just a great question. Get back to me. It'll come back to me.
We'll come back. Okay. But it's across the street from the Eagle.
Right across the street from the Eagle.
Okay, cool.
It used to be where the old Jackson Hewitt used to be. I'm old. Well, not that old, but it's like, when Jackson Hewitt was a thing, they take care of your insurance.
I learned we're the same age, so you don't have to feel too young in front of these two.
32?
Yeah. It's my birthday next week, so 33.
Oh,
33,
yeah.
that's right.
Congratulations.
When's your birthday?
Thursday.
Thursday. Awesome.
June 8th.
Awesome.
What's your horoscope sign?
Gemini.
Yeah. You're a good person.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate that.
Just like my wife. She's also, She's, her birthday's on the 13th.
Nice. Tupac was the 15th.
Oh, mentioning my wife, let me show this to because I'm trying to get some brownie points. Let me show this. I don't know if you guys can see this on camera. My wife made this for the AlderPerson that's here. And there's more in the back.
I'm grateful.
But look how beautiful that looks.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All the good stuff.
Love you, babe. Love you, babe. Awesome job.
Thanks, babe.
So, what's your favorite TV show as a kid, and what is it now?
So, that's always an interesting question when folks ask me about my childhood and about my favorite TV show, because I don't remember, right? And we could talk about that in a bit. I had to grow up at an early age, so I didn't watch cartoons much. I didn't watch a lot of TV, really. But as an adult, right, like right now, trash TV is like the best type of mental health care I can have.
I have no idea what that is.
So I don't watch anything serious because my life is serious.
Come on now.
Right?
Come on now.
So I watch a lot of like reality dating TV shows. And right now I'm watching The Ultimatum Queer Love on Netflix. It's just filled with drama, people swapping partners and stuff. It's bizarre. But, reality TV shows that have like, a love narrative.
Okay.
I'm also
like Love is Blind.
I'm a hope. Yes, like Love is
Love
Blind.
is Blind.
I saw that first time in Puerto Rico.
Or Married at First Sight.
Yeah.
I could go on and on about the list, but I'm like a hopeless romantic, and so I'm always looking for the love story or the couple that makes it.
Okay.
So right now, The Ultimatum Queer Love.
The couples that never seen each other, all of a sudden they're getting married. What the?
Hey, love can be blind.
It can.
We've learned.
It can.
Did you watch 90 Day Fiance?
Yes.
Bro, she got some balls.
Keep them coming. I watch them all. It's like the only type of show I watch right now.
Awesome. A famous person you would like to meet, dead or alive?
Famous person I would like to meet, dead or alive. Tupac.
Word.
Yeah.
For all the accolades you said earlier?
Yeah, but also I feel like there were so many things that he had written that we have no clue about, right? And so, I've read obviously the book in which, he had all of his unpublished poems and pieces of music that had not turned into tracks at the time. But I'm sure there's like a hidden journal somewhere, right? Of things that
I'd want to see how his mind works.
Man,
have you seen Dear Mama?
Of course.
Yeah, so when I guess the cops were coming from, and he told everybody come down because he wanted to play the song for everybody in the room. So he was like unbothered by the police outside. When he's focused on something, that's where his mind was.
Well, it's because when you're like on the brink of something genius, right? Like nothing can sway you away,
right,
from what you're determined to accomplish. And Tupac, we watched him do that at every turn, right? And so I always wondered what was it that he wanted to do next that he was robbed from.
Yeah.
Word.
I mean, I love Tupac. I don't know if you guys remember this movie called Juice.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You remember Juice?
Yeah.
Oh my God! When I seen Tupac,
When he played Bishop,
yo, bitch.
I just found out. You know how his hair was made. You know
That's
how
the
he had the slash.
Yeah.
It's because of the slash on the Bishop.
Yeah.
I never put two and two together.
So a lot of people
I
have
literally
this.
just got that right now.
Right?
Yeah.
The
Yeah, I didn't
visual
know that.
that was
Yeah.
yeah.
Mm.
That was a good portrayal.
Mhm.
See, that's probably
Yeah.
the only time you ever seen Tupac with hair, right?
Yeah.
That's the only time I ever
Because he was
remember.
always low faded.
Yeah, he was always low. And you know, just to top on what you were saying, Tupac was the only person that could transition to different songs. Like he'll have a song about Brenda had a baby, where he's talking about this.
Love that song.
That
Love
song
that
right there hits home. You know, I mean, the way you could see it all in your head, you know, the way he describes it and whatnot. So he talks about real issues like that, from paying homage to his mom, and then he'll just go on some gangster stuff, hit
Do
him
a
up,
party song.
which I
Yeah.
thought hit him up was probably one of the best diss songs ever. And I love Biggie, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, absolutely, he's very versatile, and he was a great actor. That's how he started his career, right? Being an actor. So.
Well, it speaks to the multitude of a personality, right? Like you could be soft at home, you could love your mother, you could love your wife, you could love women.
Yes.
You could be a gangster on the streets, right? Like that's what always intrigued me about Tupac. Is like there was something so soft about him, but like you wouldn't want to tell him something down the block. You know what I mean?
Not at all. Favorite. I'm saying favorite movie.
Avatar.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, because it speaks to colonialism, right? Like when you think about the humans taking over, you know, this beautiful planet of the avatars and destroying everything that they know life to be, right? And then, you know, claiming space and robbing space, you know, always reminds me of what we've seen happen to Puerto Rico, right? With U.S. colonialism. We became a part of the United States, not by choice, right? But rather, we were robbed of our own island, right? And, you know, history will tell you about the U.S. and Spanish War, and then how we become U.S. citizens. But even when you think about Puerto Rico today, you know, the town that I come from, I don't even recognize anymore. It's filled with white multi-million-dollar developers, gentrifiers. They're privatizing our beaches. They're taking our businesses. There's more Puerto Ricans in the United States than there are on the island because we can't even afford to live in our own home.
Wow. Facts. I was just there. Yeah. That's everywhere in the island.
Yeah.
And keep your property. If you have property in Puerto Rico, keep your property.
Don't sell it, please.
Don't sell it. If you do sell it to another Puerto Rican,
Well, let's
keep
start
it.
buying property over there instead of Florida. You know, I mean, Orlando. I went to Orlando, like a month ago. That's like little Puerto Rico. I mean, there's a lot of Puerto Ricans in Orlando.
Yep. And in Kissimmee.
Yep. So, you know, I've been to New York and I went to the Puerto Rican parade over there.
Awesome.
And I seen just seeing the community, just seeing, you know, our people are so great. Just, they love partying, and the food's great. You know, just the whole atmosphere. But when I went to Florida, I was like, wow, everybody was Puerto Rican. I was like, so I think we should definitely invest over there in Puerto Rico. I was thinking about that too. And the properties are not that expensive, right?
No, they're not. You get lakefront, oceanfront views on some properties that are under 200, under 250, maybe 300.
Yeah. Just remember to get real good insurance.
Amen to that. It's right there by the water.
That's right.
It's right there by. You brought up Puerto Rico, and I have something that I'm not giving you, but it's mine. And it's this book right here, and I think I mentioned it to you at your fundraiser. I would love for you to sign this for me.
All right.
I do. Because when you were speaking that day at the fundraiser, let me put this mic in front of my mouth. When you're speaking that day at the fundraiser, you tapped into this book, and you tapped into my soul, because this book took my soul, and the way you love your people, the way you love your island, speaks to me, and this book speaks to me. So when you get a chance, can you sign it for me?
Yeah, absolutely.
Amen.
Well, you know, Dennis informed my ideological framework a ton, actually, through the War Against All Puerto Ricans. That book speaks to a legacy of Puerto Ricans, and you know, the way we function through a colonial context, right? When we think about, you know, what happened on division streets in the 1960s and the 1970s, and the police brutality, and the landlords that just didn't care if you were living in a roach-infested apartment or a rat-infested apartment, because you were less than human, right? And so they didn't need to take care of you. And that has been consistently the conditions in which we live in, not just here in the diaspora in the United States, but even back home, right? When you think about a central government that's so corrupt, that after Hurricane Maria, we would leave people without water, without food. And you go to Puerto Rico today, there's still thousands of blue tarps on top of roofs of homes because we don't care enough to make sure that people have proper roofs. And the federal government doesn't care about taking care of Puerto Rico because Puerto Rico belongs to, is not a part of the United States. You see, this shirt belongs to me. This hand's a part of me. This shirt, I'll do what I want with it. I give it away. I could bleach it, cut it, throw it out. This hand, I'll take care of it because if I sever it, I'm risking my life. Right. Well, Puerto Rico's my T-shirt, and the United States has done what the hell it wants with it.
Wow.
Deep. And I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad you're educating us. So, you want to know more about what she's talking about? Get this book right here. I'm putting it right there for a few seconds. Look it up. You can find it on Amazon. You get the Audible too as well. Read it, and listen to it at the same time. That's what I did, and it was awesome. It puts you there with our people. It really does. So, next question. PlayStation or Xbox?
I'm not a video gamer. Never will.
No
be.
video game for her.
And I'm judgmental too, so don't tell me if you play.
What was that?
I said I'm judgmental too, so don't tell me if you play.
Okay, well, I won't say nothing. Okay, so we're gonna get to the conversation here. Okay. This came up from one of our cast members. Sorry about that. One of our cast members. We can see that you work out. You got some guns on you. How much do you bench?
How much do I bench?
You bench I let the person that brought it up because she's a lifter over there.
I want to know what are your personal records?
My personal records.
And squat.
Oh, so I could deadlift about 375 pounds.
That's impressive.
Yeah. For about 2 to 3 reps. And my chest bench, I probably do about like 170, 175. Yeah.
That's pretty good.
I don't.
More than me.
It's just about consistency.
Yeah.
I don't try to go bananas.
That's good. I think anything over your own body weight is good for bench. That's a good gauge.
Yeah.
Okay.
What about squatting?
Oh, squatting, I could do about like 200, 250.
That's good. That's a lot of weight.
Okay. Everyone here works out. I joined them because they all work out continuously. On the ongo. I just started, so I'm getting there.
You made good progress.
I'm still with the 5 pounds. It's getting that.
Yeah, you gotta get the form right.
Hey, Jesse, do you feel by you working out, like, you're a public figure now and you have so much on you right now? Do you feel that part of the day when you go to the gym, that's your one-on-one, just for you to just sort things out and just have that clear time so that way there you can handle? I mean, how do you see you going to the gym? Is it more for the physical or for the mental?
No, it's definitely for the mental, and some of it is also for like my health. So I'm a type 1 diabetic. I've been a type 1 diabetic since the age of 21. And I found out I was a diabetic because I fell into a ketosis, a ketone coma. I was diabetic for a long time and didn't know it. I was in my early 20s, went to college. Didn't take care of myself, and I was on insulin for quite a bit. And anyone who's diabetic knows that insulin can have its side effects. You gain weight. I usually have a real clear face, but I had gotten a ton of acne, and it just had created so many insecurities. So I wanted to find alternative ways to take care of myself that wasn't insulin dependent. And as a type 1, that's difficult, right? Because your pancreas isn't producing anything for you. It's why you're a type 1. So I started experimenting with diets and working out. And I've been insulin free for over 7 years, right? And just managing my diabetes without medication. But also, right, like when I go to the gym, and I'm an early person, right? So I'm at the gym 5 a.m. It's the first
Just
thing
like
that
Jason.
I do. Yeah. It's the only way to like decompress and set my mind right for what my day is about to be. But it also allows me to really walk myself through how I'm gonna respond to certain situations.
You know what, the mindset I like to carry is like I front load my day with the most challenging thing I could do.
Yeah.
So at that point, like nothing, as bad can happen to me.
That's right.
Like I hate running. If I run 2 miles, like nobody's telling me nothing for the rest of the day.
Right.
Like the worst part is already happened.
That's right. Yeah. So, for me, it's about going in, and I actually love running. It's the workout that I prefer. Right. I fractured my ankle on the campaign trail, so I haven't been doing too much running these days. I just ran 2 miles the other day, and I felt like that was a miracle because I'm usually like I could run 5, 6, 7 miles and feel like,
that runner's high, right? That's what they call it. That runner's high.
It's the most beautiful thing.
It's the best high ever.
Especially coming off of injury. Because like when you're injured, that's all you could think about. Like, man, I took this for granted. I wish I could get back into it. So once you get back into it, it's just...
it impacts your mental health, right? Like when you're so used to utilizing your body to get in the right mind space, and then you hurt your body and you can't do that, right? It really impacts your mental health. And so I'm always grateful to have the privilege to have a gym membership, to be able to go to a nice facility and work out. And I go to like a small gym. I don't do X Sports or LA Fitness. I go to a small gym in Ukrainian Village called Reps Fitness. And it's just such an amazing place, right? Like people who go there are just really serious about taking care of themselves. And serious, I mean, like they're not like jocks and like trying to break records in this gym, but rather they're like, really there to take care of their bodies and their minds. And so, for me, it's about
me too. I mean, I go there and I just clear my mind, and I'm like, and I was talking about this previously, where I'm stressed and I'm just, your mind's somewhere else, and you just go there and be like, why was I so upset? Why was I so? And everything just becomes a lot clearer. So
my wife is always thankful after a gym session. Yeah,
how you feel? You better now? You ain't got an attitude no more.
She's getting her gym bag ready.
Go to the gym. Go to
4:30. Her wife's getting her gym bag ready.
No, actually, my wife goes to the gym.
Amen.
Yeah.
Oh,
no, my wife. I
think you gotta have somebody.
She runs, right?
No, she doesn't like running. She's a professional dancer, but she loves lifting weights. I mean, her arms are more cut than mine.
Really?
Have you seen a dancer? Dancers are the most cut up people you've ever seen.
Their calves are like rocks.
I just told her that this morning. I was like, look at your calves.
Yo, so you said, and I also read up that you like writing poetry. When did you fall in love with poetry?
I was about 16 years old. So I went to Carl Schurz High School. I was expelled for getting into a physical altercation, and we could talk about that if you want to. And I ended up at an alternative school called Dr. Pedro Albizu Campos Puerto Rican High School on Division Street. And they had a Louder Than a Bomb team. I remember. Right. And I was a young person with a large chip on my shoulder. I was super angry, agitated. And there was this dean of students. Her name is Judy Diaz. And she was like, you should write some stuff down and make you feel better.
Come on.
And I had no idea that I had this like ability to write. And so it wasn't until, I just decided to like write in reflection of what was happening in my life that was making me so angry. And, I was always a listener of folks who were poets, right? So that's why Tupac is so huge for me. But also, folks who actually slammed for a living. It's how I know Flaco Navaja, watching him on Brave Voices, right? And so, and being a fan of his before actually getting to meet him.
And he was on Def Comedy Jam.
And Def Comedy Jam, yeah. So people like Dead Prez and all of these underground hip hop artists who, utilize music and poetry to write about their lives. And then I just started writing, and the writing didn't stop. I couldn't stop. It had become so therapeutic for me.
Outlet.
That, it just had become something that I did to make myself feel better. And then I was invited to join the Louder Than a Bomb team. I had shared my pieces with a couple people. They thought they were brilliant. And so I joined the Louder Than a Bomb team. And then I was taught and trained how to be a slammer. And so it wasn't just about being gifted in writing, but really about performing.
Projecting. I used to do that in high school too.
Yeah, and I slammed.
That's how Lowe's found me.
Yeah, I slammed for years.
What does that mean?
You heard
slam?
him? You heard him? He said
competitive poetry performance. So you're competing against other teams and knocking them out.
I want to take it back a little bit. To JC. I'm sorry. I know you guys are talking. That's how I found you?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Or
actually
God
was.
put me in your path.
There you go.
There you go.
God said, "There he is, right there. That's the one you need." Because I didn't know him. We go to the same church, but we just high and by. That's it.
Yeah.
And I was putting this show. It's not a show.
It was a men's night.
It was a men's ministry night,
Mhm.
and I wanted to put people together, and God said, "That's the one right there." And I was looking at a lot of men, but he pointed at him.
So he had a specific poetry segment in
I'm a
mind.
married man. There's nothing wrong with it, but I'm a married man. Okay, don't be in my DMs, please.
And he's getting married too. So
That's right.
Yeah.
JC's getting married in September, I believe.
Mhm.
Dope.
September 1st.
Are you like in the wedding planning weeds?
Yeah, sometimes she thinks a little too much.
Yeah,
She
look.
tells me to back off the plan a little bit, but yeah, I'm involved.
He just got his tux yesterday.
Yeah, well, I didn't get it. I picked out the style.
Oh, you picked it
so
out.
it's gonna take a couple weeks.
Yeah, they gotta,
I'm
get
going
it to
with,
fit
I'm
his
going
body.
with
appropriately.
custom. Yeah.
Oh, speaking of marriage, how long you been married?
Since July, so this July will make a year.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, so we got married
Congrats.
last
Congrats.
July
Okay.
23rd.
We're here in Chicago, or
Absolutely, I got married at the National Museum of Puerto Rican Arts
Come
and
on.
Culture.
Yeah.
Man, I'm dying to do something
Yeah.
there, man. We do a podcast, and it'll be dope.
Yeah. Tell me about your wedding experience, because I've been engaged for like almost 2 years.
I was engaged for 2 years
Okay.
before getting married. So the experience of wedding planning or the wedding itself?
Both.
Okay. So my wife overthinks everything,
Okay.
and she plans everything down to a detail. Where me, I'm like, look, it's a party. I'm gonna say my vows. You're gonna say your vows. We're
And
gonna
that's
get
it.
married, and people eat good food and relax. And she's like, but the drapes need to be this high and this low, and they need to be this color, and the light needs to be dim to this degree, and the coffee should be over here. And I'm like, look, that's cool.
Yeah.
You tell me how much that costs, and I'm gonna let you worry about it
Mhm.
because it was
Right.
really stressing me out,
Mhm.
right? And I'm not the type to let anything cause tension, right? So the second that I feel that it does, I'm just gonna let you do that.
Mhm.
I'm gonna do my own thing, and I'm gonna respect that you want to do that, and I'm gonna ask that you respect that I don't, right?
That's good.
And that
That's
I'm
good, yeah,
going
yeah.
to, you can count on me to show up on the wedding
Yeah,
day.
yeah, that's the
and
important
be
part.
on
Get in.
time,
Uh-huh.
right? And so that's what it was, really. I think that, I took on the things that I do care about. And for me, that was like music is important to me for many reasons. Just making sure we had good food because I'm not the type to go to a wedding and serve you mashed potatoes. Like
That
it
was
ain't happening.
her. Food is big for her.
Yeah,
so,
food it gotta be on point, you know? And then like just making sure that the people we have on the wedding guest list, are folks that we see ourselves being around for a long time. So the number one rule that we had in determining our guest list is that if we haven't hung out with them 3 times in the last 3 years that we've been together, they don't need to be on the wedding list.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because
That's a good one.
way.
That's a
then
good one.
they're not, friends of our love. They may be your friend,
Mhm.
but if I ain't hung
because
out with them,
you're a unit, then
Mhm.
you're like one.
Now,
Right.
you talk about friends or and family.
both.
Both.
Yeah, both.
Yeah,
Oh,
look,
okay.
I put everybody on chopping
Okay.
block.
So
Because
Pito in Puerto Rico in the hills that you haven't seen in 10 years.
they didn't
But
get,
he's like,
they didn't
hey,
get the invite.
cousin,
Yeah.
let me go.
Yeah, they didn't get the invite. And I think that creating that rule just made it easy for us not to have any tension about who was on or who was not on
Mhm.
the guest list, right? Because for me, it was important. Look, I could have a tia that's been in my life my whole time, but if she hasn't been supportive and a fan of my love,
Yeah.
then she doesn't need to share that day. There's so many other days in my life that she could share, like when we have children or birthday parties. But on the wedding day, that's about our love experience, and the people you want there are people who have been supportive of that love experience. And so the wedding day itself was absolutely beautiful and sentimental for many reasons. It was actually the last day I see my father. So we had our wedding. It was a beautiful day. And my dad, it took my dad a long time in my lifetime to turn his lens around, having a daughter that was a lesbian. We didn't talk for years because of that. But man, when he met my wife, Becky's her name, he fell absolutely in love with her. Right. Like, I think, on most days he loved her more than he loved me. And so he was so excited about our wedding, and he had gotten sick and landed in the hospital, about a week or 2 before the wedding. And, we found out he had a heart disease, and we told him, look, like, don't discharge yourself from the hospital. Like, you got to take care of yourself. And he's like, I'm not gonna miss your wedding. And so we all thought that he was doing better, had the wedding. I left for my honeymoon, and 4 days into my honeymoon, my father passed away. And so, no, it's okay. I find it a blessing to know that he held on to make it to my wedding, right? And to have that as my last memory is a beautiful memory powerful. To have, But so the day itself was, absolutely beautiful. I think I woke up, right? I hung out with my family, obviously, and by the time I got my suit on, I was like, yeah, I'm ready.
You got in the character.
I like when you feel like a suit fits you like a glove and you're as calm as a cucumber. You're ready for that moment.
That's what my stylist told me yesterday.
Yep.
She said once you see the fitting, you'll be good to go.
Just gotta put it on, look in the mirror, you feel good, you'll be all right.
So you were not nervous at all?
No, I wasn't. But I've also been married before, right? So I've been married before, I've been divorced. And I think, and my wife and I, we also dated before. We dated for a while in college. And I was young and, I didn't make the best decisions. And I think that like a year into our relationship, she said, I love you. I broke up with her and broke her heart.
Wow.
And then, a couple years later, I ended up married to someone else. And that didn't work out for many reasons. But I think when Becky walked back into my life, I had a clear understanding, right, that she was the one I was always supposed to be with. And so the day of my wedding, it was, for me, it was about like faith, right? That we had found each other at the right time and what we were doing was in the right moment for us, right? And that our relationship, the first time we weren't ready for the type of love that we needed to give each other to be in that relationship. And so we've been great. Yeah.
Man, you got a second chance, huh?
I did. And she'll never let me forget that.
She won't.
Love, doesn't sustain itself naturally. We have this false perception that love is the only thing that carries you through, and it's just not true.
That's right.
Love transforms over time. It changes. The love that Becky and I shared today is very different than the love that we shared at our wedding day. Right? And next year it would also be very different. We're going to love each other differently. We're also going to see each other differently because we'll be in different places in our lives. And so, we do therapy every week, no matter what. Now, a lot of people are like, are you having problems? I'm like, why do I got to have problems to be in therapy? No, it's preventative, right? It's to be able to give us the tools and the resources to make sure that when things get tough, we got the mechanics in place to really get through that, because love is just not enough, right? And we can't depend on love. We got to be able to put in the work. A marriage is like anything else. It requires your investment, your time, and your energy. And if you're not giving it, that love won't carry you through. So I'm super lucky to have someone that's putting in the work equally.
That's mad good. All of it, right?
I like how you refer to it as a verb. I think that's the part a lot. Like there's such a complexity with love that they resort to it as a feeling more than anything else. But it has to be something that you do more than what you feel.
Well, because you have to work to feel that way. You just don't. I mean, I think that we always confuse like those beginning phases for love. It's not. It's like the infatuation of the newness. You're intrigued by what you're learning, right? You're butterflied up about possibility. But when all that goes away and you know who they are and how they sleep and what they look like when they wake up, right? The butterflies go away. You're less intrigued. You're less nervous because you're in the know. So then what do you do then? Right? You got to work to be in love.
It's an action. That's awesome. Yeah, because once you hear your wife for the first time passing gas, it's like, oh.
Well, it's also like, look, and some people may say that I'm crazy. You also got to work to keep things sexy. So if you were in bed and you just letting it rip, well, and she look at you, like that's your fault. You should be a little more respectful.
You know what? I say that all the time. That's it.
It's just not my style. I walk away.
Yo, check it out.
Man, I had a girl. I'm sorry.
Go.
I had a girl. She was real beautiful, right? And we were dating for a few months, right? Now, let me add, she was pretty. She was into her looks, right? And then one day, we over here talking. I heard burp. And I'm like, what's that?
After a few months?
bro, after a few months, she got a little too more comfortable. You know, like you can't, you know, it's fine. You got to preserve your sexiness and whatnot. But do, you know, when I say comfortable, don't feel like you could like, because I felt like she invaded my privacy. Right? I was like, yo. And then she just, the part that freaked me out, she just talked about like just like that didn't happen. She just kept talking.
She didn't say like, excuse me, my bad.
So I said, you know what? I'm gonna, you know, hey, who knows what she
Did
ate?
you ignore
it? Yeah. So I'm like,
did you ignore it?
I did, but I was like a little like flustered, you know. But I said I'm gonna ignore it because you never know. We're humans, right? Things happen, right? Couple months later, and I'm like, this is getting way out of hand. You're feeling a little too comfortable. I said, listen, you gotta. I told her.
So is that when you dumped her? Is that when you dumped her?
I ghosted her. Call me Casper. That was the fun.
She was cute, but
I'm not that bad. But yeah, like you said, you know.
Yeah, you gotta keep it cool, bro.
Yeah, that show, first time ever, my mom passed gas in front of me. She cried because I was already in, I'll be 50, I was in my late 30s, and she just slipped out, right? And she said, and she held her mouth like this, and she ran into her bedroom, and she was crying because she just doesn't do that in front of people, you know. And that's what I have in my mind, that how all of us should be. You know, like that's something that's private. That's something that's private.
Yeah, go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Go to another room.
Or walk away.
Yeah.
You know. So so we were talking about poetry earlier. Can you spit some bars?
He's gonna put you on the spot.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah,
Freestyle.
yeah. Let's do this.
Let's see.
Maybe your first one, if you remember it.
My first one, if I remember it. All right, let's see. Well, let's see if I can remember it.
Come on.
Someone once told me to be lucky you don't cry blood, but I never understood that analogy because back then I was like a teacup next to a mug, you see, too young. I'm not going to remember the rest.
Come on, you started off really good.
You put me on the spot.
That's
That.
This is what the tea spills here. The tea spills here.
That's on the dope. That's on the dope.
Yeah. You got to come back to me. Yeah, I got to mentally prepare for that.
We'll come back. Remember that. Remember, we're coming back. Because I'll forget.
Come back.
Yo estoy viejo. So you want to create a more just world. And I read that somewhere as well. What is your top priority in your new role as alderperson of the 26th ward?
Yeah, well, I mean, so look, I always tell folks that it's important to level set, right? There's this false perception that when you elect somebody that person beholds like this magic box and can create miracles and transform things overnight. And, you know, I wish that was the case, right? That we get into these elected positions and we're given all the resources to just eradicate homelessness, be able to make communities more safer, fully fund our schools. But the reality is that those things take time. We are in a struggle in perpetuity, right? What we are seeking to achieve, often we won't see in our lifetime. And so, you know, for me, I think that the most important things to do as an alderperson is to resolve for the problems that I think, you know, that we can do together in collective space and in movement. And I think that we're such in a unique space right now in city council in that, you know, we have about 20 progressive caucus members in the city council. I consider myself a progressive caucus member. We have a progressive mayor, right, who believes in things like housing as a right, not a privilege, who believes in things like creating safer communities through investment in our young people and not through mass incarceration of Black and brown people, who believes in education as safe havens if we can invest in them and make sure that we have culturally competent curriculum. The young people are learning about who they are and where they come from so that they can then turn to see where they want to be in the future. And so for me, you know, if you walk through my ward or if you drive through my ward, you know, I represent West Town, Humboldt Park, sliver of Logan Square, Hermosa, and Belmont Cragen, an overwhelming majority Latino ward. Beautiful in many ways, right? I mean, I represent one of the biggest parks in the city of Chicago. I am the alderperson for the heart of the Puerto Rican community, with the 2 largest steel flags in the world. You know, we got some of the best food, some of the best culture, but we also have, you know, a large tent encampment with folks who have been unhoused for a really long time. We have young people who die at the hands of gun violence, every other day. We've seen an increase in armed robberies and home invasions, right? And all of that speaks to, our reality of living in scarcity. When you look at, Black communities on the South and West Side, and they've been historically disinvested in, and then you look at communities like mine that are facing gentrification because multi-million-dollar developers see opportunity in communities like ours. And then those developments go up, and then our families can't afford to live in a place that they've called home for decades. That's a problem, right? And so for me, there's a moral obligation to make sure that, I can stop multi-million-dollar developments to the best of my ability. I have abuelas and tias and doñas who come to my office with their tax bill, on the brink of tears because their taxes have gone up $8,000 in one tax cycle.
That's how they get rid of us. We can't afford that.
And they can't imagine how they're going to pay for that. These folks have been retired. They're living off of their pension and their Social Security. And they have to say goodbye to a place in which they grew up in. They've raised their children and now raising their grandchildren because we think it's okay to displace people. And so, for me, I want to make sure that, as an AlderPerson, you have prerogative over zoning. And so, I won my election being very clear that I'm anti-gentrification.
Amen to that.
And that,
put your ass together for that.
That I'm going to make sure that we build more affordable housing, that we're going to, close the affordable rental gap in my ward, but that also families can have the opportunity to build generational wealth in my ward. And we know you do that two ways. You own a business or you own a home.
Right.
And our people should have access to both. And so, I want to be able to make sure that we're building affordable home ownership opportunities in the 26th ward. We have about 20 city lots in which we can do that in. And I'm in conversations with affordable housing developers who have an interest in building these homes so that, if you want to buy a home in Humboldt Park with your wife, you don't have to pay $500,000 or $1 million for a single family home, right? Because your mortgage would be $4,000 or $5,000 a month. And so, those are the things that I really want to work on. But while talking about affordability in the housing stock, we also have to talk about public housing because our folks that are unhoused can't afford affordable housing, right?
Say it again. Wait. Say it again.
So affordable housing, you're still paying rent.
Okay.
Right? But it's managed to 30% of your income if you get project-based, right? You're not spending overwhelming majority of your income on rent. But our unhoused siblings can't afford rent.
Right.
They're homeless.
Right.
A lot of them without work. They haven't re-entered the workforce. A lot of them suffering from addictions and mental health crisis. They need wraparound support and case management, and they need people to invest in them. But the reality is we're not going to solve for the mental health crisis if they're living in a tent. That tent is exacerbating that mental health crisis, right? So we have to house our people and provide them the support. And so while we're talking about affordable housing, that's nice. But we also got to talk about public housing because housing should be a right in the city of Chicago. We live in one of the richest cities in the country, but we can't house folks, right? Like that ain't right, right? When you go to other places in Latin America, it don't matter if you're poor, if you're rich, if you work at a bodega, if you're a doctor, you have a house.
Yeah.
That stability is important. And when you lack that type of stability, you have issues like public safety issues, right? You have issues with young people robbing cars and robbing houses because they're trying to find money. You have issues like people gunning each other down and fighting for territory because we've learned how to be in survival mode all the time. Housing is the center of that problem, right?
A place to lay your head.
Yeah. I mean, when I think about my childhood, I was couch surfing for years and I didn't know I was homeless.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
But no wonder I was angry. I have my own bed to sleep in. I wasn't comfortable having a key to my own place.
And that was normal for you.
It was normal for me.
To just be
Yeah,
Here and
just
there.
bouncing around,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Stay at the, stay at a friend, stay at abuela's,
Wow.
bouncing around.
Wow.
Or being doubled or tripled up. How many people you know? It's like 2-3 families in one apartment.
Oh, yeah.
Right,
Mhm.
yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Yeah.
That is homelessness. You don't
Yes.
have your own home. You
No.
double tripled up, right? And that is the norm for so many of our families, and it shouldn't be, right? So housing is my number one priority. But I also spent 10 years in education. I spent 6 of them at Roberto Clemente Community Academy in a Chicago public school. And then I spent 4 of them at my alma mater, Albizu Campus. And, young people is my passion, because if it wasn't for the people that invested in me when I was 16 years old and chose to bring me into a community, I wouldn't be here today as the AlderPerson of the 26th ward, right? Probably be in prison or dead. But there was a community that chose to take a chance on a young person, right? And give that young person all they got, to be able to transform my mentality, but also to give me spaces of healing and give me stability. And, young people are super important to me, because there's so many young people who have already begun to engage in risky behavior because they lack that stability. They don't go into a school in which they see people that look like them, talk like them, and come from the same neighborhood, and can give them an opportunity to see a different life for themselves. And so, being in this elected seat, I want to make sure that young people understand my office is their office, right? So I'm starting a youth council of young people that are going to tell me what are the needs in the community, right? What do they want to see me do in city council? How do they want to see me spend my menu money, right? So we're going to do participatory budgeting, but we're not going to do participatory budgeting with everyone. We're going to do participatory budgeting with young people, because their dreams should be materialized. They should have communities that they love to be in, that they're proud to be a part of. And so, that is priority for me. And that's also how we begin to really see a safe community. But also, look, for me, I'm a restorative justice practitioner, right? I believe in peace circles, trauma-informed work, healing-centered engagement work. I believe when we seek to heal people, right, they can change. We don't have to be punitive or have a carceral state. We don't got to be putting our people in prison to create a safer community. We got to seek to heal our people. And so, public safety for me is really through intervention. And one of the first official meetings that I had after inauguration was to meet with all of my violence interruption organizations across the ward to say, we got to go back into our community and we got to have conversations with our gang leaders. We have to have conversations with folks that are participating in some of this behavior, because they're human too, right? And I think that, when we live in a punitive society, we forget that these folks are human. We forget that they also have needs, that they also want to raise their children in a community, right? They also want to enjoy festivities and not worried about getting killed while they're outside. And so if we can have these conversations, then we can begin to create these peace treaties and these safe zones in our communities. And, over Memorial Day weekend in my 14 police district, I had 0 people shot.
Come on.
I had 0 people shot because we treated our people like human beings. Because we went to our community and we had conversations about what it means to keep our children safe, about what it means to be able to be outside and also enjoy your community without being worried about your life. And so if we can do those things over the next 4 years and make those things normal, we'll be in a much healthier space.
Word. So let me get back to get a bar.
Not yet.
He's not gonna let that go.
No, it's not going, because they're gonna forget, and I'm gonna forget. So, guys, take over.
Everything you just said within the past 15 minutes was so well said. I feel so informed right now. Your passion is evident when you speak, and I love that. And I can tell you're involved with the community. The first time I've ever seen you was before you won election at New Life, and you were at Jumpstart.
Yeah, what's that Jumpstart?
Yeah, tell us about your New Life experience.
Yeah, so Pastor David reached out to me because Pastor Choco was coming into town for Jumpstart, and I've known Pastor Choco for a long time, right? I mean, I remember Pastor Choco before New Life was on Holman and Division Street.
Okay.
when he was fundraising for. And so I'm a spiritual individual, and I'm filled with faith, but I'm also a masculine presenting lesbian, right? And that's evident. And I always struggle with the idea of belonging to a Christian institution with a lot of the homophobia that exists in those institutions. But one thing that Pastor David and Pastor Choco have never done is make me feel uncomfortable for who I am and what I look like and my sexual preferences, right? And so Pastor David called me up and he's like, yo, we have Jumpstart. And I'm not a New Life member. I'm not a member of any institution. But he's like, you should come out. I want you to give the welcome. And also Pastor Choco is going to be in town. So I was like, I'll go see Pastor
Shout
Choco.
out to Pastor D, man. Pastor D was our first guest.
Yeah.
So,
and he's dope, right?
Yeah.
So Pastor David is a really good guy who is really beginning to visualize, a new journey for New Life and what it means for our community and what it means for our young people. And so, when I was at Jumpstart, and look, I love Christian music, right? And so, I walk into New Life, and New Life got one of the best bands.
Better than a nightclub. Better than a nightclub.
Free
Every
worship.
time.
Free worship. What up?
Yeah. And so, and my wife, she thrives in those spaces. And so we're sitting here, we're listening to music, and then Pastor Choco comes up to me, he gives me a hug, and we haven't seen each other since he's left to become a bishop, right? And it was like that warm embrace and that feeling of home, right? When I think about all that our community has been through, a lot of the times when we were in movement to resolve, like providing spaces of healing to families that had lost children to gun violence, Pastor Choco was always front and center in providing that service. And so, to be on that stage with him and give the welcome to folks that had come from all over the country.
Right. Yeah, 'cause people flew in,
Yeah, for that. We had people from New Jersey, we had people from Texas, from Boston, Philadelphia. I mean, you had people from all over the place coming to New Life to begin to build this collective spirit and how do we move forward and do the work in our communities. And so it's always like a welcoming to be able to go to New Life. And it was the second time. The first time is when they prayed for me on the campaign trail right before Election Day. And then after my inauguration to give the official welcome as the elected official. And I'm the first Latina, queer Latina, and the youngest to represent the 26th ward. It has always been ran by older men. And so to be given the invite immediately with no thought, no doubt, no skepticism, right? Despite my identity, also speaks to the progress that we are making, even in our institutions, in our religious institutions.
You saying that things look different. How are you different from the last AlderPerson?
Yeah, I mean, in many ways, I think that first and foremost, I'm born and raised in Humboldt Park. I'm Chicagoan through and through. But I also have a lived experience that's very different than my predecessor, right? I tell this story all the time because it defines who I am. I'm a daughter of a father who spent a majority of my life in prison. I'm a daughter of two parents that suffered from substance abuse. I have a juvenile and an early adult record. I know what it means to be a victim and a perpetrator of violence. I know what it means to be the individual in our community that people are concerned with. But I also am proof to concept that when we invest in our young people and provide them the wraparound supports that are needed, that they could become agents of change in their own community, right? And it is that lived experience that just makes me a different legislator, because I'm not coming to the table seeking to represent a body or to make decisions on what's best for them by assuming what's best for them, right? But I am a legislator that's coming to the table with the lived experience because I know what works. I know what doesn't. I spent my life in a community that has chosen to disinvest in me, invest in me. I was the person doing the work, boots on the ground for a really long time. I know what it's like to have legislators that don't listen when you're saying that the community direly needs
When
something.
when you're screaming.
And when you're exhausted and you're frustrated. And then we wonder why people turn to different things to get something done, because they're exhausted by having people in positions that just don't listen. And so, you know, it is all of those identities and multiplicities of experiences that make me a different legislator. I'm just coming to it, you know, with a different mindset. You know, the one thing that my predecessor and I have in similarity is that we believe in affordable housing, right? So Maldonado was always someone who sought to bring more affordable housing to our community, and I'm going to continue to do that work. But, you know, I also have an experience in education. I'm a restorative justice practitioner. So I believe in how do we achieve safety in a very different way than a lot of people in city council. And, you know, I'm also an activist and an organizer, right? And so even how I legislate is differently. I'm not a lawmaker. I didn't come into this with a legal background. I ain't no lawyer or business person, right? I'm an organizer. I'm an activist. I'm an educator. And so I'm coming to this with a very different sentiment, but I'm also just going to operate differently, right? And so even in the 26th ward, it'll be the first time that we have an independent political organization. It'll be the first time that we do community zoning to ensure that we don't displace our family with multi-million-dollar developments. It'll be the first time we do participatory budgeting with young people.
You're putting a smile on my face. On my face.
You know, there's going to be so many firsts outside of me being elected that I'm bringing to the 26th ward because I'm an organizer, right? And organizers just do things differently.
When your opponent started bringing it up and digging to it and plastering it up, did you feel intimidated?
Ooh, yeah.
Did you feel like that was going to ruin your chances of winning?
Yeah, so yes, I did. so we could talk about that a bit. Look, campaigns are rough, right? And I had been involved with other campaigns. You know, I was a part of Delia Ramirez's campaign for Congress. So I did some door knocking for her, collected signatures and organized for that campaign. I also had organized for State Rep Lillian Jimenez before Senator Omar Aquino. So I understood the electoral world, right, in terms of what it meant to get someone elected, but also how dirty campaigns can get, right? And I seen it in Delia's campaign when her opponent was sending all these nasty mailers about how she was undocumented and like just, you know, they get real nasty. And it's always this desperate act, right? Because they want to try to win. And in order to win, they think they got to slam the person that they're running against. When I chose to run, I had the innate fear that my lived experience would be brought up, right? And I knew that, you know, look, your criminal records are public.
That's
right?
the first thing to go for.
Yeah, it's the low hanging fruit. It's the easy thing to do. And I also had thought that they would drag in my family a bit more than they did, and they didn't. And I'm grateful for that. But I remember the day I got that mailer because I got it too. You know, I live in the ward, so I got it in my mailbox. And I remember opening this mailer. And, you know, they do things like darken your face, change the color of your eyes.
Wow.
They put me behind bar cells, and then they listed my record with the numbers and everything. I mean, they listed my record, right? And I remember opening that mailer, and, you know, I had sent 2 mail pieces. And so I know how many people got that mailer. And all I could think is 12,000 people. 12,000 people are looking at this. And my race was already hard for many reasons, right? Again, I'm young, right? When people think about politicians, you don't think about someone as young as me, right? You don't know if they got it in them or if they got enough experience, right? And capturing the imagination of elders in my community was already hard because of my age, because of my sexuality. And because I was the first woman, right? And, you know, there's a lot of sexism in our community. And people think that, you know, in positions like this, only men can get it done. Or because I'm a lesbian, right? There's a lot of religious people already who were like, God's telling me I can't vote for you. So I was already combating all of that. And then you layered that with the mailer that had come through. And I'm like, people are just going to think I'm a criminal, you know? And who wants a criminal to be their older person? Nobody. I don't.
Right.
I don't. And so, you know, I remember just how all-consuming that was for me, right? And I think I spent like 2 days just
That was tough.
in
That had
that
to be
funk.
tough.
Probably heavy, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't want to knock on doors. I was embarrassed.
Yeah.
I think a big part of it for me was embarrassment, right? Because up until this point, I had worked so hard.
Right.
I felt like I was
that's
making
not who you are
movement.
no more, right?
Yeah, people were beginning to trust me, but I also know. Look, I was 17 years old the last time I got arrested. I was 17 years old, right? I'm like 7 different versions of that person now.
That's
you know,
half a lifetime ago.
It's half a lifetime ago, and so all I could think about is like they're not going to believe me, you know. And I remember going into my campaign office, and my field director was livid, she was pissed, and she was like, "I need you to go knock on some doors," and I was like, "I can't do it," you know, like she's like, "No, you have to do it. Like, you know what you're risking? You're risking the future of the community that you love so much because you feel embarrassed. Whoop-de-doo.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Get over
That's
yourself."
good.
Yeah, to tuck the pride in.
Yeah.
That's
And so
rough.
like I had to swallow such a large pill, right? And then I went and knocked on doors and I was terrified. Lord, I've never been so scared in my life. I'm like, people are gonna open these doors and all they're gonna talk about is this mailer.
It's gotta be
And,
tough. That's gotta be tough.
Yeah. And you know, in fact, you know, to my surprise, I had experienced the opposite.
Yeah.
You know,
This is something about personal interaction, you know?
Look, yeah. But I had knocked on these doors and people were upset.
Oh, they're upset for you.
They were upset for
Yeah,
me. They were like,
yeah.
"How dare you?"
You know, you could have, like, you kind of mentioned that you didn't want to go out. You were in a funk for 2 days.
Yeah, it was rough.
I think the easiest thing you could have done is, I'm not going out there.
Yeah.
But
Oh, absolutely.
and I think, and just think about the people, how they think about you or look at you and whatnot. But I think everybody has a newfound respect because you didn't let that get in your way, and you just knocked on the door, put your chin up, and it was like, "Hey, this is who I am."
Yeah, and I think that, you know, after that mailer, my campaign had gained a different type of momentum, right? Because so many different type of people were mad for me. Our white allies, our older Latinos, our young people were upset.
I was upset, and I just found out about that.
Yeah.
Because I know Julia.
Yeah.
We rocked together back in the day. So
Wow.
with him saying something like that, and I'm like, "Boy, I know you.
Yeah.
I know you know you."
And, you know, I think here's the thing that made it worse, right? It wasn't just that Julian had sent that mailer. There was several things. One, he sent a mailer that had a juvenile record, right? And we all know when you turn 18, it should be sealed.
Yep.
And so how do you gain access to information you shouldn't have access to? So people wondered, who were you in bed with, right? To get it. That's one. And that two, it was paid by the Fraternal Order of Police, Lodge 7. And we all know Contaranza, a right-wing Republican, anti-Latino, anti-immigrant, you know, anti-Black. When we talk about all the things that we have seen across the nation, right, with police officers abusing their power and literally taking lives, you have someone like the president of the FOP defending that. And oftentimes, you know, hiding some of what's happening.
Yep.
So then you put out a mailer about my criminal record, a juvenile record, and then you have someone like that pay for it, right? Because it said paid for by the FOP at Lodge 7. And folks were livid, right? Because what that mailer told our community is that if you were young and you made mistakes when you were young, that you were unworthy of doing anything with your life, right? Because what Julian Jumping Perez was telling the 26th Ward is that I was unqualified to become the AlderPerson because I made poor decisions as a young person. And so we had to change the narrative, right? And you look, when you're on the campaign trail, you have many advisors, right? Many political people that you keep close because this is your first time running, you're learning the political game. And so you want folks who can help inform you. And many people are like, you need to do a negative mailer on him. Yeah, put one out.
Right.
And people will tell you, if he's going to play dirty, right? And people are going to give you all the advice about what you should and should not do. People are like, you need to hold a press conference. You need to blow him out of the water. And I'm like, I'm going to just stick to my story, right?
I was just gonna ask you, did it trigger you? Did it let you be like,
It almost did, you know? 17-year-old Jesse was like working up in here.
Try to pull you back in.
Yeah.
Try to pull you back in.
But look, I have done so much work in my life to be in the place that I am today, right? And I can't be a restorative justice practitioner. I can't talk about healing-centered engagement work if I'm also going to engage in the pettiness.
Come on.
Right? And so when that mailer came out, was I triggered? Of course. Was, you know, I emotionally, you know, like beside myself, right? Did I have self-doubt? Did it create insecurity? Absolutely.
You're human.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, there was moments that I questioned myself, like, am I ready? Should I do this? Am I the right person? Will I get the job done? But the one thing that I needed to stay true to is that what Julian Jumpy Perez put on that mailer was the reason I was running.
Wow.
So motivated more than anything.
It was the reason I was running, right? Because I needed every young person in my community to understand that you can make these mistakes.
So he did you a favor.
He did.
It
And I didn't have to
kinda
pay for it.
It's kind of like you held the mirror in front of you.
Yeah.
And it was like, that's...
Yeah.
It backfired because, like you said, you were 17 years old. She made whatever, you know, bad decision when she was younger. But she didn't become a product of her environment.
Right.
She's right here, you know, being like the youngest, you know, Latina on a 26. Come on,
And a
man.
light right now to a lot of young people and some older people.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, you know, I think that after that, our community was just, they were done with him, right? And there were obviously people who voted for him, right? He got a significant amount of votes. He was second runner-up.
What did you get? 54.4?
55.5.
Okay, I was a little bit off.
In a three-way race with the write-in, right? So I avoided a runoff, but I avoided the runoff because of that mailer, right? And not just because of that mailer, because look, we worked really hard, right? And I had such a large collective body of people that believed in me, right? I had people knock 7 days a week on doors, talking to people about who I was. I was knocking on doors 7 days a week. My wife was knocking on doors 7 days a week. My mother was making phone calls every night, right?
Awesome.
Pleading with residents about the difference that we can make if they voted, right? And so, you know, I tell folks all the time, signs don't vote. Negative mailers don't vote. People do. And at the end of the day, people want to feel like they have an authentic relationship with the person they're going to vote for.
Right.
And so for me, it was always important to knock on every single door, to answer the tough questions. Look, people are critical. They don't have a lot of hope. And that's because they've been put in poor situations, right? And so to be able to have been privileged enough for people to have a little bit of hope, to trust in my ability to lead, is one that I don't take for granted, right? But the campaign trail, and you know, anyone who wants to run for office, it's not a decision for the weak. You got to have really thick skin. You got to make sure when you go into it, you're going into it with a group of people that's going to have your back no matter what. You know, my wife is a social worker by trade, and so, you know, every night that I went home and it felt difficult or it was hard or I was exhausted and I was, you know, in the brink of giving up, she would lift me up, right? And she would remind me why I was doing it in the first place. She'll give me all the tools to engage in a process of healing. And you need that. You need that in the campaign trail, and you need it when you're an elected official. When you're a public servant, you leave your private life behind. Right? Like I can't do anything as simple as walk my dog anymore without, you know, folks.
You're getting stopped.
Yeah.
Definitely getting stopped.
And so it's a very different life, and it's a life that can feel difficult sometimes, right? Because you're serving all day, every day. And sometimes you just want that little bit of peace and quiet. But we've made a decision to lead. we've made a decision to be public servants, and so we have to fulfill that.
Amen. Amen. Well, this is the time we got to start breaking things down. My producers are talking to me in the back already. I can feel them. And man, we want you to come back to the show, man.
Yeah.
Want you
I'm
to come
down.
back.
Okay.
Maybe we could just sit with us and we could interview somebody else and you be with us.
I would love that.
Have some fun, right?
Yeah,
Hey,
I would love that.
You could do a hot topic.
All right. I'm
You
down.
could do a hot
I'm
topic.
down.
So
It won't be 5-inch shorts though.
So this is the part where we give you your, I had to go down, sorry, your flowers, man, for doing everything that you do in the community. And man, big ups to you.
I
Here's your
appreciate that.
flowers.
Thank you so
Want to give
much.
your flowers to you now, not when you're
Nice.
gone, you know what I'm saying? Now when
Yeah.
you're alive, or you could know that you're being appreciated. We appreciate you.
I
We
appreciate
appreciate you too. But there's another thing. I'm not going to bend over for you guys to hear me. Because you're on the Flavor Podcast, we're going to give you your flavor. And that's adobo. You got flavor, baby. You got flavor. So put that on your food. Adobo, please sponsor us.
All right.
So man, we're glad that you're here. We're glad that you came, that you're accepted, and we're watching, man. We're waiting to see what you do. We're excited for you. We're excited for you.
Yeah, it's gonna be great.
Amen. Amen. So right now, I believe we have Bless Up.
Blessed Up. Well, Blessed Up is it's a segment on our show where we like to, pay respect to, people that are doing good to our community. You constantly always hearing about the bad things, the negative things about Chicago. And there's other things about Chicago that people should know about, right? There's one organization that I had the opportunity to volunteer for. It's called My Block, My Hood, My City.
Mm-hmm.
It's an organization here in Chicago that they really look out for the community. I've done some work with them. They're, and they go as far as like feeding the homeless, cleaning. Like I worked, not work, but I volunteered my time on 83rd Street one time. And basically, they just go out there with the neighbors. We clean the streets, the alleys. We do the landscaping and just brighten up the neighborhood. So I want to send a bless up to My Block, My Hood, My City. Man, keep on doing your thing. And let's give it up for them.
Bless up. So this is where I kind of give my little last word, and then I'll go to JC. So because of Jesse's rise, I'm gonna say that your rise. It's not always going to be easy, but you have to trust in God that He will get you through these generational curses.
Amen.
She has gone through so much, and look where she's at. Look where she's at. We got to trust in God. There's Proverbs 3:5. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. Why is that? Why not your own understanding? Because when times are going bad, we're leaning on our anger. We're leaning on our emotions. We need to lean on God that He has us. That He'll make a way out. So let's not focus on our past. Know our past, but let's look to our future. Amen.
Amen.
JC, close it up.
Amen. Okay. JC, I have the responsibility of leaving the podcast with a positive note. And when I do these, I always like to draw inspiration from our guests. And as she's entering a new season of her life, I incorporated this with my life. So when you enter new seasons in life, I'll say it like this: new spaces require different versions of yourself. As you enter new spaces, you gotta be a different version of yourself. And the positive note I want to leave you with is, it might not sound so positive, fake it till you make it. Fake it till you make it. There's gonna be a lot of pride with that because you want to be as true to yourself as possible. But I'm gonna give you this example. When Los brought me onto the show, I'm like, Los, I'm not a podcaster. I don't do this. I don't talk to people. But I had to get myself in the mind frame of showing up as a person that I wanted to be, not who I was. When I first entered the church, I'm around these prayer warriors, and I don't pray out loud. But I had to get my mind frame to the state of, this is who I am. Like, you might be fake for a season, like a whole season. That might not be who you are. But the thing about your mind is it consistently looks for evidence to what you're telling it. So if I show up every day, tell myself I'm a man of God, I pray, this is what I do. eventually your mind is just gonna construct itself to believe it, and you will become that person. You know, you were fake. You might have been fake about it at first, but that's just who you are. So I'll leave you with that. Fake it till you make it. Show up as who you want to be, not who you are, and show up with flavor. This is JC. This is Flavor. Jesse, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
We are out. Peace.
Peace. Put your hands together for Jesse Fuentes.